Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Well, I have to start this off with a quote today, and I lost my paper because you're going to know this quote. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that is by the one and only Zig Ziglar, who was one of my favorite people. So you guys are going to love this episode today. Before I bring him on, I'm going to tell you a few things. So he worked for Zig Ziglar Corporation for many, many years.
Many years.
He's got lots of stories to tell. He's fun. He says he understands the corporate marketplace and what it takes to succeed in today's competitive environment. So we're going to bring him on in a few minutes, but first, I have to do a shout out to our sponsors. All right, so today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt Mills is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube films, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, go to photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to Chris Clow of Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Clow is your go-to. You can learn more about him and his work at upbeatmediapro.com. We always get the fun when Chloe's in the room. All right, so Bryan Flanagan began his career as a delivery boy for the IBM Corporation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He then invested the next 14 years with IBM as a salesman, a people manager, and a sales instructor at IBM's National Training Center. In 1984, Bryan joined the Zig Ziglar Corporation. He served as the director of corporate training for Zig for over 25 years, working with various companies, industries, and clients. In 2005, he founded Flanagan Training Group. He's authored numerous training programs, including his sales book, Now Go Sell Somebody Something, and the 4-CD set Bryan Flanagan on Sales and Motivation, and then his latest book and CD, So You're New to Sales.
New to sales.
So I would say you know something about sales. So welcome to the show, Bryan.
Well, the introduction made me tired. So.
It is? Hey, that's my gift is introductions. Like I'm the MC person. You need me to introduce you?
You're the one?
I'm the
Good.
one.
All right.
I'm
You're
the
on
one.
call.
I've had a lot of practice at those. So welcome to the show. We're
Thank you.
excited to have you here today. So we got to get this thing started. So tell us a little bit about this Flanagan training. Tell us what you're doing, how you're helping your people. We'll start there.
Much like everybody in the world, I was an accidental salesperson, so I had to learn my profession. I was raised the same way you were raised. Your mother told you, don't talk to strangers, don't ask people for money, so we go into sales.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, it's counterintuitive. It's an unnatural act, if you will. So I had to learn my profession. It didn't come naturally for me, so I had to learn my profession. And from that, I learned that other people want to be successful, but sometimes not all the pieces are fitting, and I think I bring that to the table for my clients.
That's awesome. Well, and I think you said something that was kind of interesting, the accidental part, because I think a lot of us kind of end up doing things accidentally. Wouldn't you agree? We sort of we set out to like do one thing, and then we sort of kind of find our calling midstream in the middle of that, and so, yeah.
And we make left hand, right hand U-turns. It's always good if we're going toward our passion and our dreams.
I agree with you on that. And it's funny because, like, I always share this story that I studied accounting when I was in college. My mother was a bookkeeper and had this was back in the 80s when they had executive suites and offices. I think I shared this with you, but you remember they had those executive suites and they would have like the person up at the front that would do the typing, the switchboard. My mom owned one of those, my mom and dad, and so I kind of grew up in that entrepreneurial space. I thought I was going to go into accounting like my mom, and then, I got into college, and I was like...
Way too much personality to be an accountant.
I know. Can you imagine that? What would have happened if I'd have done that? But I did get a little brains, while I was there doing all that. But, you go in to do one thing, and sometimes you find out you need to be going a different direction, I don't know what would have happened had I studied journalism or something like that,
I think a lot of would have happened if you
Exactly. So fun stuff. So you started out at IBM and then you worked with Zig Ziglar.
What a game changer that was, yes. Had a big impact on my life, still does.
Yeah.
When I was struggling at IBM as a salesperson, that doesn't mean I didn't sell a lot. I did. I sold my furniture and I sold my car. And I was struggling and I got a hold of Zig's material. You write that down. Got a hold of Zig's book, See You at the Top. This is back in 1978. Yeah. And page 48 of the original copy, you see at the top, had one sentence that changed my life those 40 plus years ago. That one sentence was, you can't consistently perform in a manner that's inconsistent with the way you see yourself. And my mother told me that for 30 years. My wife had told me that for the 8 years we'd been married. But until I read that book, I was missing success by about 12 inches. And that's the distance from my head to my heart. So I made the last 12-inch journey and accepted the role of salesperson and understood it was a helping profession. Everything changed.
Yeah. Sales is an interesting thing. And I know you and I talked off camera because, quote, Bryan and I are working on something right now for an event we have to do. And it's funny because we were talking about sales. And ironically enough, I feel like we have different backgrounds, but we kind of been coached sort of in the same world because the entire time that I was in the network marketing space, we always talked about Zig Ziglar. And you know, I was in Mary Kay for 20-something years. And that was like the name we heard all the time. So I know a lot of his quotes.
And Mary Kay gave Zig a lot of help early in his career when he had decided to go full-time into training, speaking, writing, recording, all the things that he did. She was instrumental in helping him launch his career, and he was always appreciative of that.
I actually have a really funny story involving Zig Ziglar. So my stepdad wanted to take me to go see Zig Ziglar. And of course, I wanted to go because I can't remember if it was like Herschel Walker or someone was there speaking as well. And I was like, ooh, Cowboys, I want to go see this. So we went there, and I think my stepdad wanted me to have a much bigger impact on me. And it was Reunion Arena when Reunion Arena was still around. And I remember we came out of Reunion Arena, and he goes, well, what did, because my stepdad loves Zig Ziglar. He talked about him all the time. It was like, he's so inspirational, and he knows, and I was like, so what did you think? And I was like, yeah, I mean, all I could say was like, yeah, he knows a lot of stuff. And that's all, and he was like, and that's it? I was like, well, he does. I was like, I don't know what else.
He wrote 32 books. He knows a lot of stuff.
I was like, I don't know what else you want from me.
This reminds me of my son. He's now 18, and when he was, I want to say about 15 or 16, another great speaker I love is John Maxwell.
Oh, sure.
I love him. And he has a book, Sometimes You Grow, or Sometimes You Learn, and they had one for young adults, and I made my son read it, and I feel like this was the same conversation when he came in. He read that whole book, and he came out and said something funny to me, and I'm like, that's what you got out of that? But I will tell you, one of the things we talked about, and Mary Kay used to always say this, more is caught than taught in houses, right? And my son's now 18, and before his 18th birthday, he was working to get promoted to be a manager at this restaurant that he's working at. And the week before he turned 18, he got promoted. And then he applied to be on this NRO team, which is this new restaurant opening team where they get to travel and they actually go help open up restaurants. And so he got the position. And so he's been traveling since the end of August, living his best life. And I attribute it, my daughters are just amazed at how this kid just has been like, everything he's wanted, he's just gone up and he's asked for it. He's just been like,
maybe it doesn't fall.
I'm going to work and I'm going to do this. And how do I get that? How do I make that happen?
Doesn't fall far from the tree.
It's funny.
you mentioned Reunion Arena. Zig was in front of about 12,000 people in one of the appearances that he made. And there are two things I learned in about 3 minutes that have stayed with me of the many things I've learned. He's very humble. He was very humble. He was very most consistent man I've ever met. He was in front of these 12,000 or so people, and he said something, and he looked. The crowd was going, "What did he say? Did he mean to say that?" And Zig caught himself, and he kind of stepped back. He said, recently, he took off. He said, recently I spent $245 on these glasses. Now my tongue doesn't work. Yeah. And he went back into the other, so he could laugh at himself. And then the other thing he would do, he was not mechanically inclined. They'd put a lavalier mic on him. They'd put the power pack on his side. They'd say, Mr. Ziglar, we got you on mute. Do not touch a thing. When you go in there, we'll make you lie. So he walks out. Of course, he's fiddling with it. And the guy comes backstage. He puts it on. Zig claps for him. And then Zig says, I've spoken to more dead mics than an Irish undertaker. And he would get back into his presentation, and he could take himself lightly. Yeah. And I teach sales and presentation skills, and that's one of the great lessons to learn is that you can be professional. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be perfect.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. And that's one of the big things. I don't know about you, but even when we first started doing this podcast, and this was even before you came on, I would go back and I would look at the videos and I'd be like, why did you say that? You know, like I would beat myself up. Now I have just learned when I put them out, I just laugh at myself. I'm like, oh, I said that again. Like the video last week, I must have said super excited 3 times in the intro. So when I put the feed out, like the social media feed, I said, can you tell I'm super excited?
You were setting them up.
Exactly. I'm like, I just got to laugh about it, you know, because you do. I don't think you have to be perfect. You have to just learn to laugh
One
at
of
yourself.
we teach 3 very specific foundational rules in presentation skills. One of them was give yourself permission to be less than perfect, never less than professional.
Right.
And the other is your audience does not demand perfection. Your audience demands effective. They want an effective presenter, trainer. Give me my stuff. Let me go back to my office and use it. But the big one is my audience is more forgiving than I am. And I ask people, who's your worst critic? And they say they are. Yeah, unless you're married. Marriage is grand, divorce $400,000, and the point is that they're pulling for you. They want you to be good, but you put all this pressure on yourself, and you're not giving yourself a chance to succeed. You make one mistake, one PowerPoint slide is out of order, or you miss it, and then you go back. Let me go back. I'm sorry, and you create tension in the audience because you tensed up.
Right.
But if you laugh it off and move on, it's so much easier. And Zig was a great example of that.
So true. So I got a really funny example, actually. So it was in the mid to late 90s. It was one of my first gigs at the Starplex when it was called Starplex. And Aerosmith was playing. And I got to be just a stagehand, but they kept me on. They're like, hey, stay here. The monitor engineer might need some help, so just stay here. And I was like, all right. I didn't know what to do. I just was like a green. This is new to me. So I'm sitting here, Joe Perry gets up, he's playing his guitar, and he steps on his monitor. Well, the monitor just tilts over a little bit. And the guy goes, well, I need you to run out there and just pop it over. And I was like, right now? And he's like, yeah. I run out there like thinking, this is my time to shine. I trip. I do like a full roll. I'm like bright red. I pop it over, and I'm thinking, in my head, I could go, okay, I could either let this really eat me up, or I could, make the best out of it. And as I stood up, I just took a bow, and the audience kind of clapped, and I was like, I got back. I mean, red. I was red for an hour. I was like, that was the most embarrassing thing.
Johnny Carson was great at practiced ad libs. All these ad libs he had for 29 years on the Tonight Show. Well, I learned from that. And every time I make that mistake, I'll trip and look around and say, "Have a nice trip. See you next fall."
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get out of it humorously. Right. Taking a bow would be one way to do that.
Right.
Sure. Because you got to laugh at yourself. Because
Absolutely.
There's so much humor there.
Yeah, and what it does, it releases the audience. You're right. It releases the people around you because they don't know how to react if you're, like, are we supposed to be taking this serious? Are we not? Yeah. Like, what do we do here in this situation? Plus, I think too, from a personal perspective, my tongue has been tongue-tied today. It's been like we had to say orthomolecular. It's been messed up ever since.
I didn't have to say that.
Yeah, I did. And ever since I've said that, my tongue has not been able to work. But I think when you remove the pressure off, it frees you too. Like it's almost it's a different kind of feeling. It's almost like when you're trying to get out of a bad situation and you just already give them the out. Like you just feel better because you've already given the out, right? Like you said, okay, I've messed up. It's okay, you know. So I agree with you on that.
Shake off the dust. It's biblical. Shake off the dust.
Yeah, that's good. Never thought of it that way. Yeah. That's good. He says great things. Like,
if you steal from me, you're stealing twice.
I met Chloe. I met him at a networking event, and it was funny because I know at least one. There might have been 2 people that said I needed to meet him, and it was funny because when we network out in the networking, people are always like, "Who do we need to connect you with?" And so I'd met him at an event, and then somebody else was like, sends this whole it was John, sends this whole intro, and so he messages me back, and I'm like, wait a minute, we already know each other. We met. You're the guy that told me the Mary Kay stories. That's how you remember great. People, right? Like you remember things, the stories people tell you. So good stuff. So I had a question.
And
then it just, I know what I wanted to ask you. Because your background is in sales. And so one of the things I have always said is that, and I shared this with you, that we are always selling. No matter what we do, we're selling us all the time.
Everybody's in sales. Only the successful ones admit it.
Exactly. So I imagine we have some people on that listen to this that are probably in that are going to admit that they're in sales. They're going to say, I'm selling, right? Exactly. They're going to admit. And we talked about that. It is a good thing. So maybe, what's some good advice to lend them in that profession to help them be successful?
Where do I begin to tell the story?
I'm telling you, this is your market, right? This is your thing.
First of all, I wrote a book called So You're New to Sales. It wasn't only for the novice salesperson, it's for everybody. But my number one rule, because it helped me so much, and I see it help other people who are finding a transition from systems engineer to software salesperson, things like that, banker to relationship banker, which means they now are calling officers. In the old days, we call them. Number one, selling is a process. It's not a personality. If you find a process, it doesn't have to be my process, but you need a process because key point here, process takes pressure off the person. Yeah. It takes pressure off the salesperson. It takes pressure off the prospect person. Plug into a process, and it's not about you. It's about him or her if you're calling on somebody. But let the process absorb the pressure. Yeah. And when you get in trouble, tweak the process. We beat ourselves up. I should have said this. Well, you skipped a stage. Next time, don't skip that stage. Mm-hmm. So if you have a process and you can plug into it, the process has to be client focused. But I'm a big believer that you make more money solving problems than you do selling your product or services. Right. You need a process to extract that problem.
I agree with you. I'm just thinking about this book I read. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it.
It's a memory book by Jerry Luke.
No, it might be that one. It was actually on selling, and it was interesting. I was working with a firm for a short period of time, and it was something they recommended reading. It was interesting because having come from the background, we learned a lot about selling, that whole process, and it was neat because it actually put like some terminology. I'm like, oh, we were doing this, and I didn't really realize there was actually like this is part of this process, like this terminology that we're doing, but a lot of it was how to find that need and how do you wrap that around the need, because a lot of people get so hung up on, okay, here's what I have to offer. Okay, but do I really need what you have to offer?
Yeah,
Did I tell you that?
I think the number one mistake that I made early in my career, I still do, not as much, and I see my clients when I make calls with them, they have a passion for what they do and they want to talk about that. Right. And what happens is that, be careful with that, because you could get so excited that you're selling it, you keep talking, you buy it back. So a rule that I learned from Zig's mentor, a man named Fred Smith, put your talent ahead of your passion. Don't ratchet your passion down, but have the abilities and the skills, the wherewithal to be able to read where the prospect is. Does he or she need this, or should I be here? Should I ask a few more questions? Because we skip once the light bulb goes off in our mind, I know what he needs. Yeah. Then we skip the stage of making sure he or she knows what they need, and we go right to the close. Yeah. We over-explain. Right. So there's a process that hopefully keeps you from doing that, because you need to go through most of those stages on most calls, whether they be not transactional, but short cycle calls to long cycle calls. Right. There needs to be steps in place where you and the customer have got to complete that stage before you go to another one.
Yeah, and it's difficult for some people. I mean, sales is always, for me, I feel like it's just kind of a natural thing, but it is for some.
But people. You have a predisposition to be with people. You have predisposition perhaps to build relationships. Right. I tell people I don't trust natural-born salespeople. Yeah. Nor do I trust natural-born cardiologists. Because I don't want a natural-born cardiologist ad-libbing through my chest cavity. So I want somebody, if they're going to sell me a home, I don't want a part-time salesperson doing that. I want somebody that knows the business, knows the comps, knows the school districts, knows the tax codes. I want somebody that's a professional. Yeah. I agree. And the natural-born salespeople, when they get in trouble, if they hadn't learned some of these steps along the way and they rely on their personality, I think it'd be frustrating for them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you totally. Because you'll get stuck in just the conversation. You never get to the close part, right? And interestingly, when I was working in that space with women, and even now, because I work with entrepreneurs, and we have to go through the attraction, you got the conversion, you got the selling and the product, and a lot of the selling takes place in the conversion. It's all in there, right? Because they get to this spot where they skip all that, and then they get to the sale, and now they can't close them because they never sold them. They never got them hooked on why they needed it. They never found out what they needed.
What she said.
Yeah.
Exactly
you know
right.
what I'm saying? Like I'm working with this great mentor right now, so I'm getting a lot of knowledge. But seriously, you know what? They never find out what they need and how to get that into, like, match that up with their needs. So then they get to this close, and now it's awkward. Right, and then they do let me hide and avoid the call because I don't want to make the sale. It's just all awkward, and you don't want that. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot that happens before
and if
that.
word gets out that's the type of salesperson you are, any market is too small to have a bad reputation.
I agree with you.
So that's why I'm a big believer of the professional selling side of things.
Yeah.
And it takes work to be a professional.
Yeah. So do you go into now like corporations and work with them, or are you working with
When they let me, yeah.
When they let you?
When they let me.
I bet it's fun though, because I bet you keep them in stitches. I'm sure a little bit, huh?
Well, the medical profession, I do.
You? That's
Oh
great.
my gosh.
I'm old, but I'm quick.
That was good.
It is.
But I work with large companies, small companies. I've never niched.
Gotcha.
I've never niched. I thought that all sales needs training, and if one market would go down in the economy, and that's where all my eggs were, that would be bad. So I've had a chance to work with just a variety of clients and industries. It's been a great ride. I've had a great career.
Yeah, you have.
I'm meeting with. We're having IBM had their national training center for the typewriter copier division. I sold typewriters and copiers in Dallas, and we've got a reunion. And I got there 44 years ago, and then they probably did away with that in 8-9 years after I left. But we're having a reunion of all those people that were with us from 78 to 82 that were in sales training. And the stories are going to be great because we've seen the evolution and sometimes a revolution of selling.
Yeah.
These guys and gals have gone on to other things. I decided to change from IBM and stay in the education business, the sales marketing presentation business, and do training because I've always had a teacher's heart. But it's fun to go back and relive those stories, which I know we'll do every time we meet for lunch. We relive those stories. But most of us had to learn to do this.
Yeah.
And most of us had to have a couple of broken hearts and a couple of bad months and a couple of tight times economically where we had to learn how to do what we do.
Yeah.
And from that, we became stronger. And our job was in 4 weeks to get these students from sometimes they were just out of school to sometimes they were career transitioning, and to give them that information so that when they get on the streets, they were professional and they were effective.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So I've got a heart for salespeople.
Yeah, and it is. It's. I mean, you said some things there about having to learn to do this because it is. It's not something you just. I don't know. I mean, I guess there are. But people that just wake up and do that. I don't think that I just woke up and did it. I think I had many years of being under the wing of some people that were in the industry where I learned a lot of things. But I will tell you, I left that industry in 2021, and I probably had the most of my growth came in the last few years because I started reaching out and getting some more mentors and really understanding how to shift this, that it wasn't really about me, it was about the other person and trying to meet their needs. And I think that's, I think we've kind of hit on that in so much of this
I went from a
conversation.
250,000 employee company to a 24 employee company, which was a step up, by the way, when I left IBM to go to Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
But it's a different world.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a different world. The structure, the support, the product, the collateral, the marketing. Everybody knew IBM. People were starting to know Zig Ziglar when I got there. And in my arena, that point in time where I was there, a lot of people knew him because he was building at that time.
Yeah.
And these, as Chris said, the reunion arena where you had like 8 speakers. Zig was always one of the spotlight speakers, and that also launched his career about that time.
That's awesome. Good stuff. You've had an awesome career. I want to ask you kind of a fun question on this. We'll get out of being serious. Not that I don't think we've been serious this whole time, but I'm going to switch this up. So, what do you feel like you learned in all of this? Like, what's the big takeaway on all this for you?
Self-belief.
Love that. I like it.
Yeah, I had a work ethic. I didn't have the self-belief. I had a great family background. I didn't do real well in school because I was at LSU and it was a high school with ashtrays when I was there. but I learned a lot through my extracurricular activities, through my fraternity and some of the things I did, sports, etc. And I got to IBM, and it just never took. It wasn't IBM's fault. I love IBM. I went in as a boy, came out as a man. But it was the hard side of things that I needed that just wasn't available. So I had to invest in myself. First thing I did was Toastmasters, which was unbelievable. And then second, when I got a hold of Zig Ziglar. So I think that personal growth comes before professional growth.
I agree with you.
And I think more people in corporate world are expecting the company to train me and that's it, as opposed to stepping out like you're doing. You're seeking, you're proactively going out and bettering yourself. And more people need to have that, because I think that in my case it led to the self-belief.
I would agree with you on that, and I talk about this a lot, because people, especially in companies, I hear this too because I talk to people in them, and they think if they learn, even entrepreneurs, they think that if they learn another hack, another widget, another skill, another technique, that's going to make them better. No, it's not going to matter. It's the same thing with the sales script. You can take a booking script. We had booking scripts, remember? Okay,
sure.
So we had them. You can read that booking script. I can teach people on cold calling. You can say that script very different ways, right? It can come across very, very differently. And if you're confident enough, chances are you're not even going to need that booking script. You're going to move past that booking script, right? But they don't understand that all of that stuff has to come from within. Everything has to come from within before it can happen on the outside. And that's the thing. Even like I'm working on a course right now, and that's the big part, is because so many of these entrepreneurs, having been in the network marketing space, being privy to having mentors, I recognize the value of having all that, because they believed in me when I didn't have it, when I didn't, right? Yeah. But so many people out there, like you're saying, in the corporate world, or even entrepreneurs, they don't even understand that. And that's the part where I'm like, you've got to work on you first. You're priority number one. Yeah,
I have a program called Building the Salesperson and the Sales Professional. And it's for managers that have to manage the results and the productivity, but they also have to manage the individual. And sometimes we forget to do that. I learned something from a customer out in Rockwall 2 months ago. And this kid's 23. He's leading the sales team. And I said, well, help me out here. How did you learn this? Well, I had the manual, and they went through it. They trained me well. But those were training wheels. Yeah, and I took the training wheels off, and I put my own spin on it. And I thought, that was brilliant. I'm taking notes on this because I thought that was strong. Yeah. But Jared taught me a great lesson when he said, if you're going to work with the new people here, give them enough information, let them have the training wheels. At some point in time, they've got to take them off.
Take them off. Yeah, I agree.
Lesson learned, yeah.
Yeah, and if companies spent more time investing in their people, there'd be a lot more happy companies, I think, or happier companies, should say. I agree with you on all of that.
Well,
I'm glad that you're doing all this stuff,
because
you had this whole background with the Zig Ziglar thing. I think is really awesome, and I'm glad that I got to meet you.
Yeah,
and all your funny stories too.
Well, we met 20 times, and
I know.
Finally we linked in and said, we know each other. What is this all about?
How it happens.
And now we're doing a panel at the end of the month.
I know.
Get out of town.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, we have to do this event, and it's a networking event. We're talking about selling through, not to, because nobody wants to be sold to, right? We don't want to sell to people. We want to be able to do that conversion.
Yep.
It's that conversion.
That's right.
So that the selling becomes superfluous.
Ooh, I love when she talks dirty. Superfluous.
That's my new word. I've heard this
Super
word.
excited is secondary now?
Yeah, super excited is second. That's second word. I say that in the intros. We didn't say it today. Did we say it today in the intro?
Yeah, we didn't.
I think I killed it last week when I said it like 3 times in like 2 seconds. It was like, I'm super excited to welcome my guest. I'm super excited you're here today. So today I didn't use it. Save it for next time. We'll use superfluous this time. You're superfluous. All right, this has been good. I think we need to do some fun. Not that we've had no fun. We need some fun questions now, don't you think?
But give me your best shot.
Do you want to open up? You got one? You go maybe think first.
Give me a top 5 movies. What's your favorite movie?
What is your favorite movie?
Well, I got a top 5.
Well, he's got a top 5. I want to hear this. What's your top 5?
Okay, first of all.
You gonna count backwards like they used
no,
to
we
do
go
on
first.
Letterman?
Field of Dreams. That was a story of my dad and me.
Okay.
You can't get much better than a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, I know. I like
Pulp Fiction was
This is pretty good.
weird, but it was so well done.
Yeah.
And then we have Snatch, where Brad Pitt was
love that movie. Yeah. Love that movie.
We have The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
And then Boondock Saints.
This is interesting.
Yeah. No offense to Gone with the Wind or Citizen Kane, but Boondock Saints about the twin Irish guys.
Oh yeah,
This
that
is
was
a good
They
one.
brought
This
them
is
great.
good.
William Dafoe, it was great.
We should ask that question from now on. What's your top five
a
movies?
good one.
And what's yours?
I don't know. I like.
Do you like books as opposed, or
Well, I do like books, but I like scary movies. I'm kind of one of those that like when I don't watch TV very often. No, I mean I do like some good movies. We just actually went and saw Bullet Train, and I actually liked that one because
Yeah,
it was
it
kind of
was
an
good.
speaking of
interesting.
Brad Pitt? Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of it was one of those. It made me think of a Quentin Tarantino type movie. It
So
was kind of
did-
all over the place. It had little different stories going
Yeah.
on within it.
Did you like The Silence of the
I
Lambs?
did like Silence of the Lambs.
Tough movie.
Yeah, I did like Silence of the Lambs, but yeah, I like horror movies.
Hello, Clarice. Have the
Yeah,
lamb
that one
stopped
I actually like
screaming?
that one. Yeah, but here's the thing: I don't watch TV very often, but when I do, the only reason I like scary movies is because there's no context to them. You don't have to do anything.
That is really
You
the
have
truth.
to absolutely do no thinking in a horror flick,
So
right?
that was funny because, like, literally the other night, Teresa was like, "I don't want to watch a scary movie before I go to bed because then I'm gonna have bad thoughts." And I go, "But I'm watching cheesy scary movies. These
Yeah,
are like
there's nothing-
Friday the
yeah,
13th and
exactly.
Halloween. They're terrible movies.
Yeah.
There's
End,
no-
End of the World with Seth Rogen.
The
Yeah.
new Halloween is coming out on Friday. I am
Yeah.
going to see it
Yeah.
this weekend because it's the last one. It's the last of the franchise.
Jamie Lee Curtis. What
44
a
years.
stretch.
44
What a
years
stretch.
is 44 years in that movie or that character.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis's husband, Christopher Guest, I love his stuff. He did A Mighty Wind, Waiting for Guffman,
Best in Show.
Best in Show. I mean, just
guys are good.
phenomenal movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Well, he was a six-fingered man
yeah,
in
and
The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
But I just rewatched Inception.
Well,
again.
no, I'm done.
You done?
After the third level.
Yeah,
that was
there's
the
a
fifth
lot of
dream state.
context in that one. A lot of
Yeah, I
clue
couldn't-
picking up. You gotta. That's why I said. So I don't watch TV very often. But if I'm just in it, like my brain is shut down, and I just need just.
But for Inception, you need a scorecard.
You do. There's a
It's
lot
kind of
to
like
it.
Game of Thrones.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
there's
like
a lot.
Memento.
It's a lot.
Oh,
to
I'm
it.
sorry. The sixth one is Memento.
That
Yeah,
was
Memento.
that was a tough
That
one,
one,
man.
yeah.
I was like,
Guy-
I watched it the first time, then I had to watch it another time, then I was like, okay,
Great.
I'm
It was
starting to
great.
catch up here.
Memento is a good one. It's sometimes
I
lost
saw
in.
that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were doing Inception actually because we were studying it to use it in conversion. Because if you think about how thoughts are put into somebody's head, it's an idea, right? It becomes an idea. It has to be your idea. I can't put the idea in you.
That's where they lost me.
Yeah, it's
where
very
they lost me.
very deep. But the mentor kind of broke all that down because I wouldn't have got it at
Yeah,
first.
I had to have my
either,
daughter explain Matrix to me. So
Yeah,
I'm
Matrix
not.
is- yeah.
The new stuff. That new stuff is.
Yeah, it gets a little
past me.
Yeah, a little deep. But yeah, I have to think of my movies. But I'm like, what have we watched lately that's been good? We went and saw some scary movie, that Smile movie, and I was like, oh, that was terrible. I walked out of there, and somebody on Facebook was like, don't watch it. It's a devil movie. I'm like, it was a horror flick. Like there was nothing to it. I walked out. I didn't have a nightmare. I didn't think anything of it. Anyways, that was a good one. A good question. Okay, neither one of us asked one. He just told us the question.
I was gonna say, what is the largest venue you ever worked with Zig Ziglar?
When he was doing the Get Motivated seminars, as I said, you saw they do a local sports guy. It was very right wing. It was very conservative. They had Giuliani. They had Schwarzkopf. They had Steve Forbes. And then Zig would be the morning spotlight guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked to be a fill-in speaker. Anybody want a bathroom break? Let's welcome Bryan Flanagan. So my 20 minutes was just that. It was kind of a fill-in, which was fine.
Yeah.
We did Tropicana Field. And they said there were 25,000, which there weren't. There were probably 18 to 20.
Uh-huh.
We played behind second base, and they went from first base to third base with that part of the stadium being open. And then the second would be, which was a great one in 2004, Jerry Lewis was on that one, and it was at the Staples Center, where the Lakers play basketball.
Oh, okay.
And that had a very super excited crowd.
Yeah.
That was one of the best crowds I've
Super
played for.
excited.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I've had a good time. I've been from Ukraine to Perth doing this. So selling has taken me around the world.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for some guy from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that never wanted to leave Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As I tell people, I love Louisiana. I don't want to live there, but I do want to be buried there. That way, I can continue to vote.
Yeah.
So I've had
There you go.
I've had a good career, and Zig was instrumental in that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we talked about it. It's just as honorable to sell as it is to buy, right?
Yeah.
People get these hang-ups about selling. I mean, we sell every day.
Yep.
We got to remove the stigma. You know, it is what
That's
it is.
right. That's the stigma,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's the first 2 or 3 people we run into in our lives who are salespeople and not necessarily professional salespeople.
Right.
And that's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Favorite travel destination since you've just been everywhere? Where's your favorite place that you've gone to?
Prettiest place in North America is Vancouver, British Columbia.
Ooh, I've been there.
Next to Kearney, Nebraska. No, Vancouver, British Columbia is gorgeous. Most exciting place is Midtown, New York.
Okay.
New York. Fun.
Then the good news is I'm on somebody else's nickel
Yeah.
when I go up to these places. I don't stay there very long
Yeah.
because of a training engagement or
Sure.
speaking engagement. But I don't know of a prettier place. My favorite outside country is Australia,
Very cool.
because it's a foreign country, but they speak almost the same language.
Yeah.
And those people don't care about a thing. They're happy. They're happy
Yeah.
people.
My daughter went to Australia when she was I want to say right before she was going to middle school. She was on one of those like ambassador programs where they send a couple
Good
like
for her.
teachers and kids. But it was so cute because when she went there, she was so young. She really didn't know how to appreciate it. And I remember her coming back, and I was like, "So what was the like coolest thing?" She says, "They had recyclable chairs in the stadium." That's what she was impressed with, was this whole recyclable chair thing.
But
in there, you know.
that's a different context for it. That's good.
Mhm, exactly. Yeah, I was like, I want to see some kangaroos and like the Great Barrier Reef. Can you send me some photos?
Well, the best place to take a look at Sydney is from the elephant cage at the Sydney Zoo, because it shows you the bridge over here, the opera house is here. It's just a great view from that part of because you have to take a ferry to get to the zoo.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's one of the things.
Can you see how we could just be like, he's got so many stories.
yeah.
We could be here
We could
forever
forever.
talking about all these places
Absolutely.
he's been and the
Absolutely.
stories. What a life. How fun has it been?
It's been fun life.
I mean, wow.
And it's
wow.
put my kids through college. Amazing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
that's
I
a
know.
good thing.
I got the last one to adulthood. I'm excited. That's always the plan, right?
Yep.
Get him to adulthood. But good for you. I'm excited to hear all this stuff. I'm excited to work with him too. We got this thing coming up, and at the end of the month, it's gonna be great. And yeah. So anything else new you're gonna be working on? Another book coming out? Anything else in the works?
Just trying to stay ahead of the creditors, like everybody else. Everybody's chasing the next deal.
I know.
Yeah, I've got some great clients lined up for the end of the year and into next year. Looking forward to that. I've got some
Awesome.
large clients that are international, and then we've got some mom and pops who
Yeah,
are
you're
just
staying busy.
the Fortune 500 as well as the Fortune 500.
That's right. You're staying busy. All right. Well, Bryan, if our audience wants to learn a little bit more about your dynamic, got lots of things going on, but they want to learn more about your programs and all this good stuff, where do we want to send them?
Bryan Flanagan, FlanaganTraining.com, FlanaganTraining.com. 214-505-5109 is my phone number. And yeah, I'd love to talk to new people and find out what their needs are, where they're headed, and see if I can be a vehicle to get them there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, very cool. And check out the books. You got a lot going on there. CDs, all that good stuff. So it's been fun. Good stuff.
Well, you guys made it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try. We try to make it fun. And so that's the point. We want you to have a good experience,
Yeah,
right?
certainly
We
did.
don't want you to come in here and be like,
And
man, that was...
plus, I got dog hair. My dog is going to go berserk when I get home.
Exactly. You're going to go home and they're going to
How
be like...
lucky are you, right?
Exactly. You go home, they're going to be like, what'd you do, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, of course, we want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our show, please be sure to give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook. We can't do this without you. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. And we want to leave you with a final thought. This is mine, not a Zig this time. In order to live extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.